having a minor cold, but it was time to move on and tackle another of the challenges facing underprivileged people in Britain today.
We've all got our favourite kind of bank. High street, investment, sand and sperm. But who's heard of a food bank? What's a food bank? Well, it's free food for poor people.
And while the idea of getting free food sounds superb, we only have to think back to how we all picked on the boy who got free school dinners to realise it's more complicated than that. Because for the people on the receiving end, it can be a demeaning experience. But what if there was another way? Joel Maidment is what is known as a freegan, and while that may sound like a type of Irishman, it's actually a term for someone who finds and eats food thrown away by supermarkets.
Now, when most people picture the kind of person who rummages through bins for food, they imagine a certain type, someone who's fallen through the cracks in society. And yet, this is not the kitchen of a tramp. This is rather lovely.
Thank you.
And whilst nothing here is brand new, that's also sort of part of your philosophy, isn't it? I noticed when I came in, for example, your TV is fairly old, quite small.
Oh, well, we don't tend to watch much TV.
Yeah, I sometimes say that. Point is, you're comfortably off.
Yes, I guess. My wife's a lecturer.
Are they all? But you are a freegan. You scavenge for free food.
Correct. Yeah, freegans try and live off what other people throw away. It's an ethical decision to prevent waste.
So you make good use of the things that you find, the things that we everyday folk leave behind. You're a womble.
Well, in Britain we throw away 6 million tonnes of food every year. And much of it is in very good condition. So I think, as a society, we should feel ashamed of that.
I'm just as guilty. There's a burger van on the A47. I always order the half pounder. But do I get through the second patty?
No.
I just, fist it into a discarded coffee beaker and pop it in a canal.
Well, I think...
so you would eat anything within reason?
Within reason, yeah.
For example, an egg mayonnaise sandwich still in its wrapping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if it's still in its wrapping, I'll eat that.
Okay, a plastic bottle of iron brew, but the top's been chewed.
Yes.
By a rat.
If the seal hasn't been broken, I would drink that.
An egg in a sock.
Yes, I mean, if food looks good, it generally is good.
Okay, an egg still in its shell, looks fine, but it's from the 90s.
Well, maybe.
A condom full of grapes.
Yes.
You need to sort yourself out, mate. Well, it's one of the coldest nights of the year, and I'm about to go on a scavenge with Joel. I'm wearing a head-mounted GoPro camera, exactly the same sort worn by US Navy SEALs when they assassinated Osama bin Laden. And I'm hoping to find a bin laden with food. Let's freegan!
This skip here is just jam-packed with food.
Right, yeah. So it's like a garage full of food, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually reminds me of Moira Stewart's garage. Hers was full of snacks during a low point in her life. She survived for a year on Quavers, Cheetos and Pringles.
Really?
Yeah, she's got scurvy. Actually, she told me that in confidence, so...
Oh, I won't say anything. So, yeah, get that ladder there, go up there, and you can get into... I mean, it's basically self-sufficiency, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's like they say, give a man fish, he eats for a day, give him a fishing rod.
Yeah, he'll probably come back the next day saying, you know, that fishing rod you gave me, go on, can I have another? What happened to the one I gave you? Oh, I sold it. Let me guess, to buy some skag. No, to buy some fish. I was hungry. Did it not occur to you that you could have used the fishing rod to catch some fish? Oh, I haven't got a permit and I don't know how to get one. Google it!
When did this happen?
Oh, it didn't. It's just a generic, annoying man who lives inside my mind. A head squatter. I don't mean a dominatrix. I mean...
Shit!
Wait, where are you going? I thought we were allowed. I think the noise that you can hear out there was a security guard. Whilst technically we weren't breaking the law by being out there, security guards tend to have a bit of a chip on their shoulder and no qualifications. That's quite a combination. Oh my God, I think I can hear them locking the doors. Shit. Come on, come on. Come on. Come on, hello? Come on, please.
As I pummel the shutter, I catch sight of a figure through a crack in the corrugated
I
door.
can see someone out there. Hello? Man! He's not responding. Chav! I'm deliberately trying to rile him, get him to respond that way. Chav, man! Fat boy! You stop just standing there!
I was later to discover that the figure I'd seen was nothing more than a cardboard cutout of a Nolan sister holding some Activia.
I'll report you!
I am trapped.
Alan Partridge says that Alan Partridge says that
I'm locked in a warehouse because a man who goes on about ethics deserted me to save himself. Funny old world. He could find a banquet in a bin bag, but couldn't find real balls in his own ball bag. It was now 3 hours since my last meal, and while Joel the Freegan was probably tucking into chicken soup, chicken pie and lily-livered pate, the man was a coward, I was becoming dangerously hungry.
Now, normally I carry a Snickers bar concealed in my bicep pocket. Some people think that water is more important. Wrong. Bear Grylls, Christian Hardman, told me that you can always drink your own urine, but when you're hungry, you want to eat a Snickers.
Unfortunately, my bad assistant has washed the fleece without checking for contents, and the pocket now contains a flaky chocolate brick and handfuls of nut dust. Then a brainwave. Special forces are trained to think outside of the box. If I could get some of this food outside of the box, or its box, I could survive. I struck gold with what I can only describe as a cross-section of an egg and ham slice.
I can only describe as a kind of a CAT scan of a square Scotch egg. And I know that if I eat 2 of those and 4 wagon wheels...
Looking back, I can see that the GoPro's fisheye lens has made me look grotesque. Put this image on my Tinder profile, and it will be a barren few months indeed. This is the picture I use on Tinder. Being here is unsettling. I am gripped by a lonely introspection, like Andrew Neil on the train or an elephant at Chester Zoo.
In the 80s, I once climbed onto the roof of a bus shelter to rescue a cuddly lion. I'd won for Carol at a fun fair. Some boys had thrown it up there. This is when I was still married to her. Felt like I could do anything when I was married to Carol.
But danger is looming, because like Carol, the warehouse had grown incredibly cold and unloving.
Absolutely freezing in here. I've not been this cold since I had to dial 999 after I did the ice bucket challenge.
I begin to panic, running up and down in a futile attempt to keep warm. My extremities are now stinging. Unless I find a way to warm up soon, I'll be dead by morning. Just another one of the ghosts that haunts the aisles and corridors of this facility. Like the one I witnessed when watching back CCTV footage from the warehouse cameras. What was this glowing figure? This strange spectral form? It took me a full 10 seconds before I remembered that it was me. In my desperation to keep warm, I'd used packing material and box tape to fashion what most people would describe as a classic bubble-wrap double gown and cowl.
Well, I'm warm as toast. Unfortunately, I look like the bastard love child of a bubble-wrapped honey monster and some sort of demented Scottish widow. Horrific thought, the honey monster forcing himself on a Scottish widow. And she's been through enough.
The lovely, bubbly warmth is just the fillip I need in the minutes before the warehouse is due to open. Unfortunately, it turns out the warehouse is closed at weekends, and it is to be another 51 hours before I am discovered, by which time my mental state has become fragile.
What are you doing?
I'm not a weird thief. Ceasefire! Ceasefire!
It's the bubble wrap.
Ceasefire! Hold your fire!
It's the noise of the bubble wrap.
Oh, yeah.
What have you done with your fucking clothes?
They're folded up over there.